So good. What is it? Good evening, good afternoon. My name's Christian.
Woo!
It is what is it? Friday, and I'm here with my host, Mr. Vincent Orlek. So I wanted to welcome everybody to the 13th episode of Social Chatter. It's a weekly social media show where we talk about what's new, what's hot in social media marketing for the week. As I mentioned, my name is Christian. You can send me a tweet at CKROKS. I also am the founder of Social Chefs, which is the brand I use for promoting and marketing this. Basically, we want to teach you, some different ways that you can use social media to develop winning recipes for your business. And over here with my buddy Vincent. Vincent, how can they tweet you if they want to, ask any questions or whatnot?
You can always reach me at my handle is my name at Vincent Orlek. Should be right up in the box there if you want to check it out. And that little hashtag for not a guru, I kind of use that as well for my own personal branding and trying not to be within the typical like calling ourselves gurus and mavens and ninjas and all that stuff. So, but this is something we do weekly. So, Christian, what do we got to kick off with here?
You're absolutely right about like the whole guru thing. Like, everybody's like, oh, like we hear this all the time. People ask about experts and whatnot, and it's like, you know what? Nobody is an expert at one thing. We might be very good at what we do, but we learn from other people. And we didn't just, for instance, we didn't just get started in social media. Like, I got started with it back in 2006, 2007. I don't know, when did you get started?
You got me beat. Oh, you got me beat, dude. Within the last 5 years, probably I would say, I've had a Twitter account since 2009, but I haven't been using it since then. Probably, I would say 2010 is probably fair for like a genesis of my recognition of all this stuff that's happening. And really 2012 is when it kind of started really kicking in.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that over the time, like things have evolved. I've been through when Facebook was really difficult to use to where now like you have so many tools available to use. So it's the biggest thing I can suggest to everybody when we talk about social media marketing is don't let it frustrate you. Work with it, in your business. Don't be too rigid. So, and enjoy what you do. So, kicking off, first topic of the week. By the way, we got 5 topics and 3 tools today. So, topic number 1, we've got, you guys are probably going to be surprised at this, but we've got Google Plus updates. A lot of people thought Google Plus was dead, and kind of neat to see that they're actually making some adjustments here. I'm sending you a link over here to the Google Plus's blog, but they're basically they're finally listening to people and saying, hey, you know what? Let's take some of the best things and let's put those back into Google Plus and let's refine, how the site works. Let's change up like the look and feel of things and make it, in this case, it looks like it's very tile based, but there's nothing wrong with tiles. It's all about presenting the information in a manner that's easy to consume. Personally, I haven't used Google Plus in a while. I still go on there and post occasionally. Vincent, how about you? Do you do any Google Plus updates or anything?
You know what? I for the company I work for, Plexus Worldwide, yes. Although over the last, say, 6 months, I hate to say I've kind of slacked off. It's really been only the major announcements that we've made I've put in there, just because it does still index the posts as though they're their own individual websites, right, for the SEO purposes. So it's still got value in that sense. I personally, no. Really sporadically on my personal one. I know there's a lot of people that actually still use it and get a lot of value out of it. This
Right.
update, I checked it out, I think yesterday, and man, it looks totally different. I would have to say it does, just on the surface, even it looks better.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, and then I was watching a blab. I forgot who was talking. Oh, Mark Traphagen. Mark Traphagen was talking about it, And that's where I even found out initially that the update was made. I guess the real focus that they're pushing for is on communities, on people using the communities part of it, and building communities. And then the collections looks interesting. Honestly, for me, the thing that I found potential value in a big way, assuming it continues down this road, is your feed seems a lot more intuitive. So your home feed, it's almost like Facebook in the sense now where it's not just doing chronological, it's
Right.
doing what you're interested in and, the people that you want to hear from and the topics you want to hear about. I noticed it right away. I mean, I could see there was, certain people like it within social media world, not just all the things that I follow,
Right.
boom, boom, boom. It was based on things that I've liked before, people that I've liked before. So, I mean, look, if they do it right, it's not that they're even gonna knock Facebook out or a competitor. It's something to use along with Facebook and the other channels. And I mean, what do you think, Christian? I'm sure you had a chance to kind of look at it a little bit and see. I mean, what were your thoughts on it so far?
I love the redesign on it. I think that it's really nice to see, at least it's nice to see them actually going back and updating something. I think though the biggest question mark for me is going to be, are they going to sustain that? Because Google's got their hands in everything and they do a great job at a lot of things, but they also have a lot of projects they come out with that don't really, get off the ground. And
right. Which is okay, right? I mean, I don't ever have a problem with companies doing that. Same with Facebook coming out with the new. Some people complain about the apps, like all the apps that Facebook comes out with that don't work. But guess what? Messenger groups and pages, I use those like religiously, daily. And if they didn't try to come out with those, they wouldn't be out. So I mean, I never have a problem with that type of innovation and taking a risk and putting something new out there and letting people figure out if they like it or not. But I think you're right.
Absolutely have to take a risk. I mean, we talk about, Google Plus, like they're taking a risk here. I mean, they knew that, hey, we need to go back to the drawing board, and they did. And then now, like you said with Facebook, like they came out with all these apps. I mean, I like the fact that they've kind of started to move things between apps. And then if you start to look at how things kind of, flow in sequence, like if I'm in one app, for instance, I can easily go back to something and whatnot. I'm not feeling like I'm, forced to use. I mean, you're sort of forced to use them, but I like that it makes the experience a lot better. When you're on a mobile device, It's not easy to, yes, I can double click the home button and go back to an app, but I like the fact that, there's a purpose for each app. And they put in, like if it's like you literally have all of Facebook groups inside the groups app. I mean,
I love that app. I mean, that is totally, and I'm sure it's like this for a lot of people.
Pretty awesome.
In fact, I know it is. That's totally improved and changed how I use and interact with groups at this point. Really, since like day 2 of it being out, I was on it right away to try it, and it was like, whoa, okay, well this will work. So yeah, I'm with you.
And a lot of people, when you start looking at groups, people look at groups as like groups are one of those things that people really didn't understand or even use. And then they came the app and it made people revisit it. So with Google Plus, and we're going to move on to the next topic, I think that, it's going to be key for them to continue to build off of some of this momentum. I mean, that's good momentum. Hey, they did a redesign. People are talking about it. Now, what's next? I think that's, what's next. And they also are going to have to figure out, how do we get people back to Google Plus? Because everybody kind of wrote them off.
Although they didn't, it's not like they deleted their account or anything, because everyone still has Gmail. If they created a G Plus profile at some point, it's probably still sitting there. So again, it's just like getting them back onto there, and they can log in probably. You can log into that pretty easily, because if you're logged into Gmail, you're already logged into your Google Plus profile.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So with that, we're going to move. We'll keep an eye, obviously, on how Google Plus works and how it where it goes. But Google Hangouts, yes, obviously. But hey, you know what? Guess what? That's also why we're over here on Blab, because we like the simplicity of using Blab. And honestly, I think it really comes down to every tool is unique, to what you're doing. I mean, it's actually funny. I was just talking about Google Hangouts this morning, we were talking about looking at using it for something, and Google Hangouts and Blab at the moment have two distinct uses. I use Blab because it's easy, it's fun. I like that. In this case, Vince and I can chat with one another. We've got a great discussion dialogue window going on here. But when I go over to Google, one thing that's missing though, I don't have screen sharing, for instance. I'd love to be able to share my screen with somebody and give a presentation while doing this. If I move over to Google Plus though, it gives me a little more privacy and lets me interact. It lets me tie into some of the other Google properties, which is kind of nice. So I think that if Blab gets all those tools, I think that it'll really help. But again, it's what you make of it. I think like the tools there, it's what you use it for, and how you build it out. So with that, moving into topic number 2, relationships on Facebook. This is actually a relatively new relationship. Is when you end a relationship, it ends up going public to everybody. Also at the same time, like in this case, Facebook, for instance, like I'll give you an example. In my personal relationships, we had a death in the family, and this was last year, and I'm going on to Facebook now, and I'm seeing at the moment things that are events tied to a very sad event, and I don't really want to see that necessarily. I mean, let me present.
Well, even events tied to when not the sad event, but to that person.
Right. Exactly. So what I was getting at with that was that, hey, I don't want to see those events necessarily. So what Facebook has done now is they have this, they're testing a relationship tool. So basically it's almost like a little questionnaire. Like, do you want to, like, for instance, if you're in a relationship with somebody and you break up, do you want that to go public? How much of this can you control? And they're giving you some of those controls now, which I think is actually really smart of them to start to do this, to test this with this, really powerful feature. Because I don't necessarily want to log into Facebook and, all of a sudden get, you get condolences from friends and whatnot. But at the same time, then you start to see posts from those people, like tying back to this person, for instance, if that happens to be the case. So they're giving you a tool basically to let you see less of they put it like this, see less of a former partner's name and profile picture around Facebook without having to unfriend or block them, which that's actually really good. They're doing this. It's always been a pain because, you either immediately went in and blocked somebody or unfriended them. And this way it's just one quick thing you have to do. And that's it. So that's topic number 2. I mean, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
I was going to add only that, just specifically, you gave that example, and real quick, I have a coworker who, for the last year and a half, I've heard her say some comments about, this, not just her, other people, but about how this person, I don't go on Facebook because I don't want this person to be able to see me. There's all other stuff around that, around privacy settings too. But obviously something like this, it brings the privacy settings into a much easier spot for people to manage that may not be. Because it looks, from what I saw, it looks like it prompts someone when they change like a relationship status, let's say. It prompts them immediately to go through a couple of steps if they want to. They can skip it if they want, but they can adjust their settings right then, and it takes them through the steps. So it makes it just that much easier for anyone to limit the visibility that someone has of them.
Absolutely. And I think that I think you make a really great point about the privacy settings. Privacy settings are they can be very challenging for people because it's like if you're on a mobile device or you're on an iPad, or a tablet, like you have a certain view of Facebook, and then you go to the desktop and you have a certain view of that as well. And it's one of those things that people, they, in a way, they expect Facebook to operate the same way across, all of these different devices, and it doesn't always work that way. And so I think by adding something like this, it simplifies things and makes it easier for people to actually, I think it makes it easier for them to control some of these settings with, well, where did that setting move or whatnot? Like it's, it's almost like they need almost like a little toolbox or something that people can go to, like what do you need help with? Like you type in like, relationships or something, and it pops up the feature, it takes you right to it. Something within Facebook to where you don't have to go search for it, for instance, on Google. So overall, though, I'm happy about it. I think it's going to be a really good update.
Yeah, I don't know that it'll specifically affect me, but I know a lot of people will appreciate that and use it. And it's funny because all the people that do, they're the ones that are a lot of times very quick to jump on Facebook when they make a change to the TOS, right? And like when it's something almost insignificant that you have to just re-agree to, it's like all these types of people that jump all over it, be like, oh my God, Facebook wants all this information, but they don't really make any sort of statement or comment when they address a privacy issue like this. Yeah, it's just funny.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And by the way, if anybody has anything to weigh in on this, if you want to, give us your own insights, feel free to drop them in the comments over on the sidebar.
Yeah. So just real quick, shout outs to OD and Daryl sitting in here. Those are my buddies. I know them. Coach Kanani. I don't know you, but I'm following you now, bud. OD said every time they change Facebook, my settings change. Huh.
Is there any specific examples you have there, that you want to share with us?
For OD, what? Just all the settings change, the privacy settings. I don't know. I know that happened for some people. I think the last big kind of overhaul within the last several months. So I heard people say that, but I don't know. I haven't had that happen to me. So it's like intermittent at best. It affects some people, not others, for whatever reason. Just weird. One of those things, maybe. It changed your category of friends. Yeah. Yeah, man. It might just be you, OD.
I mean, here's the thing. I know that a lot of times, a lot of people that I end up working with, they end up, you might have a setting in Facebook that is only specific to your account where it causes issues, but that's a really good, good point. Again, I would say take it with a grain of salt. I mean, just, if it doesn't work the way that it should work, you can always go report things to Facebook. There's a great Facebook help center as well, by the way, if you want to go on there. I'm a big contributor over there. So, there's a lot of wealth of information there, if you ever need help. So sticking with Facebook, topic number 3, we have Facebook donation button tools. And by the way, we'll get to Coach Kanani. We'll get to your question here in a second here. So this is actually new, and I suspect that this is coming about because of obviously all the tragedy in Paris last week, and obviously like all the other things. I think here in the U.S. we have Thanksgiving next week. So Facebook is launching some tools, which I'm glad they're finally doing this. They're basically adding tools to let you as a nonprofit tell your campaign story, rally supporters, collect donations, and track the progress towards your goal for year-end drives. Obviously, I would have loved to have seen this at the beginning of the year, but this is this is really good for at least leading into 2016. And we're not going to start with one of those 2016 wrap-ups, best of 2015 things yet. But basically, they have rolled out some new tools. You can read about them on that link. There's also a really great video kind of showing you how it works from Facebook. This is I like the direction. I like that Facebook is actually starting to roll out personalized tools for different types of businesses. What are your thoughts on this one, Vincent?
Yeah,
I don't do Rob as much, but what about you? I mean, I help, but
no. Well, I mean, I can tell you when I was with the small business team there for a year, like that was one of the things. Our job was to not push, but more inform people that they could run Facebook ads, and part of that included using kind of case studies. And we approached nonprofits, and this was 2012. So we were kind of like pitching Facebook ads to really any company, and mostly small businesses. And the nonprofits, there were case studies that we used all the time. I mean, you don't have to be a humongous American Cancer Society or something like that, Red Cross, Salvation Army. You don't have to be one of those super big name nonprofits that in order to see success with a campaign on Facebook or a regular presence on Facebook to get donations. I mean, it's a natural fit. I can't tell you how many times the two most effective things. I don't. I mean, whether it's good or bad, I don't donate to stuff all the time. I really don't. So the two things that have gotten me to donate have been something on Facebook, where it's just led me down that road, and like the text message deals where they tell you text this code to donate $10. And it's in both cases, it's because I'm not handing cash over to someone. It's like it's like too easy not to donate. And I think that's the power of this is you're in Facebook, you're already potentially feeling different emotions and seeing news and saying, oh my God, how horrible that is, or oh, look at this story, this is heartwarming. And they catch you at that moment. They catch you in that impulse moment of you're feeling a certain way, emotional towards the subject, and oh, well, here's the donate button. Go for it.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And I gotta say, this actually reminds me. So, Facebook's getting their, they're putting their hands into a lot of different things, a lot of different pies. I mean, and I like the fact that, by the way, motivating. Hold on one second. Who we got here? Motivating Men's. Thanks a lot for joining us. By the way, we'll have a recap of this available tomorrow, and I'll actually give you guys the link to that in the show. But back to what we were talking about the Facebook donate button. I agree with you. I think that I think that one, it tugs at the heartstrings. Like when people are, when something disastrous or something, or something that really tugs at somebody's heartstrings is going on, people will go in and. By the way, I'm going to comment on your shirt in a minute. By the way, but when people, they're talking about like, an event or something that tugs at their heartstrings, or it's the holidays or whatnot. Like, I actually think that this needs to happen more. Like, people need to make it easier to donate to a cause. And I think by doing it on Facebook, I think that, obviously, I mean, I do wonder like how much liability Facebook has to that. Like, if somebody says, "Hey, I'm collecting money for this," is there some sort of verification process or something comes up? Or are they just letting people like freely say, "Hey, donate to my cause," and somebody's not going to, use it for something. But I like the fact that they're making it easier for, for businesses. I don't know if you also recently read, and this will be a topic for next week, or actually week after. Facebook also was testing something for like a Kickstarter type business, to where like they're going to try to do some sort of funding. And I like that, I like that we're starting to see these little tools for all these individual businesses, different types of businesses. I don't know if you also heard recently today. Some Facebook pages are now getting the category to be able to add a shopping page to their Facebook page. So like a section on their page to be able to, pretty cool.
Oh, huh.
I've not had a chance to play with it yet, but it is pretty awesome. What do we have here? I'm sure what Chuck here says. The donate button is already for one of our non-profs. So they did have a donate button.
He's already seen it. He's already seen it.
Yeah, they rolled this feature out actually a few months ago for some people, but this was actually a bigger thing. This is actually a bigger initiative, which I wonder if it's actually tied to, some of the other stuff we talked about, like a shop button and whatnot, or a section to be able to have that.
This is a whole thing around nonprofits. It's the donate button, but it's also some other aspects to it.
I'll be honest, I would actually like to have this on any Facebook page, so that, my page can become a destination. Like, I'll give you an example. I've got a friend, he owns the Home Tea, and I'm not here pitching products, but he owns the hometea.com. It's basically a t-shirt with the state on it that says home. He's got some really great marketing. He donates to multiple sclerosis. And, granted, you buy a t-shirt and it goes to that, but like, he might be a business, he sells t-shirts. So he might be a business that would want to have some sort of additional donation that could go around at the holidays, for instance, or at certain times of the year, for example, when certain like campaigns are coming up, like you've got breast cancer, like you've got all these things. So it would be Good point, Chuck, by the way. Thanks for telling us that the donate button is only available to a page that can be verified. I'm sure they probably have to put in like a tax ID or something. But I would love to see encourage more businesses to be more giving, not just with the information that they share, but also towards different causes. Because you have a lot of people that, hey, they build these huge audiences. All they're looking to do is sell their product to people on Facebook, and they're not looking to actually help you. They're helping you, or they think they're helping you with buying a product, but I think it would help encourage more goodwill, from a lot of businesses if they made it more universal, I think. So,
yeah. Actually, there's this other link too for we can pop in there. That's got more information. The button, it's not just on the page either. It's on the posts.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be included on the posts too that show up in feeds. So that's probably even bigger part, because I don't know, people don't really go to pages specifically so much as they do see the posts, obviously.
That's really good. I think we have two really great resources. There, like you've shared, like the huge of really a lot of good information to kind of work off of there. So thanks for putting that in the chat window, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move into topic number 3 here. This was actually a late addition. We talked about topic 3. We were on topic 4, actually. Sorry.
4.
My bad there. Topic number 4.
Yeah, try to count, Christian. Man.
So topic number 4. And
totally opposite from nonprofit, by the way.
Absolutely.
Consumerism at its best.
Actually, you're absolutely right on that. Bottom. Was that like a run you ran or something, or what was?
You cut out for a second for me. What was that?
T-shirt. It said Washington D.C. on the bottom. I'm in the D.C. area. What's your shirt tied to? Was it an event? Was it a run you were in? What is it?
Just shameless plug for Nike. I didn't really wear it for that purpose. I just wore it today. No, when I was out in D.C. for that event for my company, I went to the goofy little outlet malls that are over near National Harbor.
Uh-huh.
There's like a little outlet mall with some stores and things. I don't know. Sidetracks, but outlet malls are usually like not worth the time. Like those kind. They say that it's an outlet, they have deals and stuff, and then they never have deals. I never find deals.
Yeah, so quick. If you're looking at like outlet malls, you really have to know what you're getting. Like a lot of times, you'll see this, by the way, this is getting kind of segueing into our next topic. But when you look at outlet malls, a lot of times the merchandise that's there, sometimes it's old merchandise, sometimes it's merchandise that's specifically made for an outlet. I actually like going to outlet malls, but you do have to know what you're going to get. I'm a watch connoisseur. So like I'll go check out, some of the high end, outlets there they might have, and be able to pick up, a vintage piece or whatnot. Sometimes, and whatnot. If you ever need to go there, you do kind of need to know what your pricing is, because usually what will happen at an outlet mall is they will increase the price. They will say, hey, you know what, this item, say it's a pair of shoes, was $100, and we'll sell it to you for like $70, right? It may seem like it's a good deal, but in actuality, they're just increasing the pricing to make it seem like you're getting like, a huge percentage off, when in actuality, you're really just getting it for what it might cost you to go to the store and buy it normally. So you kind of have to keep that in mind when you do go to outlet malls. Now, I mentioned this because this goes into our fourth topic here, which is, holiday shopping. And, I say this, like if anybody's going to do any Black Friday or any Cyber Monday shopping, me personally, I don't really do a lot of Black Friday shopping. How about you, Vincent?
I don't go out. I don't go wait anywhere. I might go sometime.
But I think because everything is moved online, I think that,
I'm not
necessarily I'm not going to necessarily go do it, on the day after Thanksgiving. I'm not even going to go the day of now. That's just
I like going out on the day, like Black Friday, just to kind of
That's
get the
kind of
feel
nuts. I
of
mean,
what's
it's
going
great.
on.
Mhm.
To not that going in a couple stores tells you everything, but it's
But you're not getting up at like 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever to go. No. Here's the other thing. So if you're going to go take advantage of some weeks later, before in most cases it'll be the same price as what it was at on Black Friday, for instance. You may not get some of the discounts, but you also have to look at like your time. If I'm going to go buy something and I'm going to save like $50, for instance, like $50 seems like great, but when you compound that and say, hey, I'm going to go on Black Friday and save $50, it's really not that great of a deal because you're going to spend a lot of your time on standing in line, waiting in line, hoping you get the item and then you don't get it. And
yeah.
I personally think that a lot of businesses are going to move online for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And I think that's happened. I mean, I've worked in e-commerce for about 10 years, and like that was the trend like a number of years ago. Like everything was moving online at that point. Everything's still not online. There's certain businesses where you want to go to the retail.
Well, because they want to get you in the store. They have door busters that only
Absolutely.
You can get in the store.
And I would say, honestly, shop around for what it is you want, because a lot of times, if it is Black Friday or Cyber Monday, people are going to match that online. So that gets me to this next topic, because I want to keep us on track here.
Yep.
Topic number 4. By the way, Jessica, thank you so much for joining. If you want to pop into one of the chats at some point, let us know. We're on our 4th out of 5.
Jessica with a K. What's up? What's up, Jessica?
5 topics, and then we talk about 3 targeting. So this is actually pretty cool. So if you are somebody that is doing any sort of advertising on Facebook, this is actually, and this is another thing where like I'm actually really happy that Facebook is doing this. They're making Facebook ads easier for people. They're going to be adding ad targeting specifically for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. This is pretty awesome. I mean, imagine it's almost like a gift, being able to take some of that data, for instance, that they're collecting and, being able to then, help you use that, to use your ads and run them more effectively. So, what are your thoughts? I mean, do you think, do you like the step that Facebook's taking here? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, so because I haven't had a chance to really dive into this one too much. I was trying to figure it out just from that link, like what exactly it is. It's a new ad targeting segment, but just so it's when I'm going into place ads, I can specifically select Black Friday or Cyber Monday.
You should be. Yeah, I'm actually going to log in and.
Okay. So people talking about those topics, I can target.
I haven't run any ads in a while. You've actually worked on any of this yet? If you've done any work with Facebook ads as well, regarding any of this new ad targeting that they've got going on for the holidays, which, by the way, this will run Thanksgiving through New Year's Day. So that's something to keep in mind. So while I'm looking at this, by the way, feel free to.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for advertisers for sure. Because the other thing is the fact that this was just announced
today. Yesterday, actually. Sorry.
Or with this week, right? I mean, at the earliest, it was this week, and not everybody's going to see that. not every company. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, not every company, not every brand, not every advertiser is going to know that ad targeting segment exists. So there's some room there for potential for the people that do know that it exists to be in almost like an exclusive ad targeting segment.
Absolutely, and I think that I think this is a really good. Sorry, I'm actually mesmerized by the animated GIFs that are being created when I'm creating tell a little bird over in the corner. So this is actually partly why, like you and I, before the show, we talked about doing, we talked about a new feature that was Twitter testing reactions, which was very similar to what Facebook was doing. And this, I think, is is way more important than that, because obviously you've got Black Friday coming up. You want to prepare your ads ahead of time, start this weekend. if you haven't already done it. I mean, if you haven't, go ahead and drop that stuff in there as well and start creating your ads. And, this is actually really useful because it's going to help you, better target your content to people who are engaging with content related to the holiday shopping season. And I suspect there's going to be a fair amount of that. I mean, a lot of people are interested in Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I mean, it's not just around the topic of like, should they be open, like where people want the best deals on things, and that could be your business if you happen to have an offer. So,
and the thing with Facebook is everybody's kind of like trying to figure out, well, and he even says in the link in that article to another article about advertising on Facebook about how the money is spent on advertising on Facebook, but the actual purchasing is like minimal, not infinitesimal, but like 2% or something of what people spend. So they're using the advertising on Facebook to get them to other places, or people just aren't buying it through Facebook. They're going somewhere else anyway, or seeing it somewhere else after they already see it on Facebook. Personally, I would love to like do a campaign to test this out and really throw an actual, like a real deal, a real solid, like regardless of almost if you're interested in the product or not, or the service, putting out something that's just like a blowout deal, a true Black Friday, like 60% off something, right? Or something for free, like and I think that would be a really good test of whether it's people don't want to do the process through Facebook, or it's just the stuff that's getting put in front of them isn't good enough.
Great points. I mean, I like your idea of experimenting. And I have to say, that's one thing that you can't overlook on Facebook. I mean, you need to experiment. You need to test. Mm-hmm. Actually, sorry, this doesn't just apply to Facebook. It applies to every social network. Like, you can't go in there and be too rigid with what you're doing. At the same time, though, you have to test and find things that work with your business. And once you hit on something that is working, that's when you want to, keep working on it and keep pushing that until it doesn't work.
Like doing a dark post for Black Friday or Cyber Monday would be, I'd love to do that.
Absolutely. By the way, Jessica, if you want to, I don't know if you're still on. Actually, no, you're not. Okay. So I was going to say, if Jessica was still on, she could pop in and chat with us for a little bit. We've got Coach Kanani here as well. So, if you are running any sort of deals, consider looking for that ad targeting in your Facebook Ads Manager, so that way you can, better target, the people that are interested in that topic and, reach engaged users, because it's all about, here's the thing, it's not about big numbers. It's about reaching engaged users. And by reaching engaged users, you're going to be able to, better, you're going to get a better market, of people to basically, a pool of people basically to be able to pick from. So with that, I'm going to get to topic number 5. Topic number 5,
and then we have a few tools to talk about too, right?
Yes, absolutely. So topic number 5, and this is actually, to me, I think this is a pretty big topic. I think this is going to affect a lot of I'm going to say businesses, app makers, the like. And this is actually a topic that for me, I write a lot. I write a fair amount about Instagram. I've written about scheduling tools. I've written about, how Instagram can be a very useful tool for a lot of businesses. I've had a ton of businesses contact me and ask me after I've written some of these articles, hey, can you add my tool? Can you review my tool? And a lot of times, I'm very selective about the tools I choose to review, because there's a lot that don't seem to follow Instagram's API guidelines. And these are things like, they're like, you probably heard about this a few weeks ago. Businesses I think there was a company, they were basically taking your account information and using it in a way that they weren't supposed to be using it. So there were a lot of businesses that were, there were a lot of businesses that were, over there using, Instagram for ways that they're not supposed to. Like they were, pulling in information. They were pulling in your user information improperly. They were asking you to log in, and then they were storing that information. So basically, and this think is probably a change because of part of that. But basically, what this is Instagram. They already are very limited with how they let people use their API. But what they're changing now is they're actually revoking that access. And so these are a lot of people are using this like to pull in like Instagram feeds and whatnot into other apps and things like that. And so, and I don't know if you want to add something here in a second, but they're basically going to be looking at apps and trying to give like full API access to some, and then in a way they're kind of like pulling back, adjusting how things kind of need to work, and then trying to get to the point of giving you better clarity on how Instagram can support you. So it's not like they're going away with this completely, but this is actually, I think, going to have a fairly big ripple effect on a lot of businesses that were using Instagram, like, whether it was an app they built or something like that. So they're basically, the bottom line is they're losing access to Instagram's feed through third-party apps. So I'm actually going to put a second link in there for everybody. So what about you, Vincent? What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that?
Honestly, I mean, I'm not surprised, but so from my understanding is they're going to get more stringent on who they allow to integrate with the API. Is that what we're talking about?
Absolutely. And I know, and here's the thing, I guess, I mean, for people that aren't like very tech savvy, because I'm whatnot, but yeah, that's basically what they're doing. They're removing, if you go to that second link actually that I put in there, if you go to the second link, it'll kind of explain a little bit better, I think. Basically they're overhauling the platform, removing, basically they're constricting third-party apps to be able to access their feed. So that means that, there's going to be a lot of apps that are basically going to have to redo how they're doing.
So I wonder if, because I know some, right? I mean,
but
I know some that have gotten, I wasn't using them or anything at the time, but I know, hearing the news of things, there's certain ones, I want to say it was maybe Latergram or one of those that got almost like kind of shut down in a way. They had something happen with their, they integrate with Instagram, and something happened with theirs back in the day. So
absolutely,
right now there's only a few as it is. Like something like Iconosquare, are they going to be really the go-to still? For me, they're the go-to for any Instagram stats that I look at. Since Instagram doesn't provide native stats like a Facebook does with Insights, or even Twitter does now with their expanded analytics. So I don't know. I mean, I use another tool with Nuvi. We're signed up with Nuvi, so I get some of those stats for Instagram there. But I'm curious if what their partnership's going to be like. So it's going to be interesting, because Instagram and Pinterest are the two that really are the tough ones for companies to integrate with. Mm-hmm. So this will be interesting. I mean, I'm curious to see what happens with this, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, and I say that, I think this is going to be a pretty big change because, like I said, like I've had a lot of companies contact me about, reviewing their tool, or they have a scheduling tool they want me to work with. And all those things, not sure entirely how they're built, but they have some tie-in back to Instagram's API. And so, for this, like, basically for the feed, it's basically going to be because users felt that it was unclear where their content was being shared and viewed, which actually is kind of interesting that they say that, because I think I recall post and making artwork out of them and selling them for ridiculous amounts of money. I think it was an art dealer. I actually want to find this because it was a very, very, very here it is. It was back from May of 2015, actually. So earlier this year. basically an artist was using other people's Instagram photos in an exhibition without their permission and then selling prints for $100. I want to put that here in the chat window for everybody. I mean, that's just kind of nuts. Like, just to think that, at this point, I mean, I guess the guy, probably just took it, and I don't know how he got access to it, whether it was through the API or something, but that's something to keep in mind. I mean, that's pretty crazy that, you have, so I can see where Instagram's coming from with this. And at the same time, if you have a lot of businesses, it's almost like a reset button. You have businesses doing things, with your tool that you don't want them to do. It's saying, hey, you know what? We're going to put a pause button on this, and then we're going to make some adjustments, and we're going to bring you back. And you have to follow our new requirements. So
yeah, well, the other ones, it seems like there's a bunch out there that are companies that give you the option to like print swag or make a canvas using it, ties in with your Instagram pictures. So I mean, I think those are probably going to fall into this too.
I mean, I'm very interested, like I said, and I think like you've said as well, I think that this is something, it's a development that we're going to want to keep an eye on. I don't think it's going to affect a lot of people. Like, if you're a regular Instagram user, it's not going to affect you, but it is going to affect you as far as like the tools you use. Like, for instance, I think Flow for Instagram is a tool that I have on my iPhone, and it's a tool I use occasionally. So I use that occasionally. There's I'm sure there's.
How about repost? I don't. I mean,
probably I don't know if it's going to be affected, but I'm sure it's probably some sort of bearing on it. So so with that, those are the topics for the week. We've got a couple other topics that we want to definitely hit on, but we have saved those for our next show. So I want to actually quickly jump into the tools, and as I mention every week, I have 3 tools. Some of these are paid, some of these are free, and some of these, in this case of this first one, this is actually a tool for another tool that you already use.
Yeah.
And this is a tool called Buff. Well, the tool is Buffer, but Buffer has been building out some tremendous pieces of, some features into their product. They started out as it's sort of a social media management tool, because you can go in and you can, queue up your post on, Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest and Google Plus and LinkedIn and share it all over the place and get some really great scheduling. They also have a great scheduler tool that we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, you just click a button
where
and you can find out the best schedule for your account.
Absolutely. And it's great because you can go in and say, I want to post, and this is all important. If you have a social media strategy, which everybody should, you need to determine how many times you want to post on your channel. And you're going to read all sorts of nonsense on the web. People saying, hey, you only post one time on your Facebook page a day. You only should tweet like once an hour. Like, you know what? You need to tweet, you need to share as much as your audience wants,
Yep.
And you're only going to figure that out by testing it.
And they'll tell you. It tells you that your audience will tell you, and your analytics will tell you. So it's not hard to figure out. Just start doing stuff and see what gets engagement and reaction and look at the stats and certain things. It's not gonna be perfect, but certainly you'll get a really good idea, and then try new things as you go. The day this came out, I saw the blog post. I think, I signed up for their newsletter and stuff. I got it in the email. They came on Blab, actually. And I don't know if you caught that, but they came on Blab, the 2 of the development team. I think someone from the product team and someone from the development team. They came on Blab. It was their first time on Blab. And they just hopped on and started talking. And like, they got a really good crowd. They got a lot of viewers, and people were super engaging in the comments, and they were like, we don't even know, look, people can post GIFs, like they didn't even know how to use Blab yet. So it was funny, but they came out to talk about that and kind of the process behind it a little bit. They were on for like maybe a half hour. It was really cool that they did that. And Buffer, they have a Slack. I'm not a shill for Buffer, but I do use Buffer, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I love what they do. They make it super easy. The mobile app is awesome. So this new calendar thing, I tried it out. It makes things even that much easier if you need it. I mean, it's click and drag in the calendar beta section of, say you don't want that post to go out. You're looking at your calendar and you're like, oh, that's scheduled right next to something else that's similar, or whatever your determination is. You just go boop, drag it down. It asks you to confirm that that's what you want to do. I mean, it's so smart already. Like it's intelligent in that sense. I love it already.
I mean, it's a tool that I've been waiting for them to come out with this because everything is in a queue.
Yeah.
And now it goes into a calendar, and it reminds me of another tool, CoSchedule.
Yep.
We won't get into, but I mean, I think Buffer's doing a tremendous job of rolling out what they're adding to their tool. I mean, and like you said, they have an absolutely great team. I love it. If I ever have questions or need help on something, I mean, they're very, very, very responsive, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's emailing them.
Yeah. Well, their chat, the Buffer chat even, is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, I mean, they're doing a tremendous job. So that's the first tool we have for today. And the second tool we have is.
And let me just say this while you're posting that, Christian. Anyone that's watching this right now, which it's a couple people, and Matt Sherman just jumped in. What's up, Matt? Anyone watching this right now, anyone that watches this later, Christian is the man when it comes to tools. Let me just tell you. And he's posting these links in here. I would highly recommend checking these all out. And if it's not going to work for you, cool, that's fine. But in the interest of looking at new things, all of these things, like Christian said, he vets a lot of stuff. He doesn't just throw things out here willy-nilly in our show on a weekly basis or on his blog. The stuff is very useful and very good. Not for everybody, but certainly it's worth a look. So I'm just throwing that out there. Click on the links and check them out. I do it every week too, because I want to check out the newest stuff with these tools.
Thanks a lot. I handpicked this week's tools. I handpicked them because I know that the holidays are coming up. So the second tool is a tool called Revive Old Post.
I heard about this one.
It could be. You might have heard it called former tweet. It was formerly called Tweet. Different. Like you set up a threshold to say, okay, I want to, like, for instance, the holidays are coming up. That there's certain content you want to schedule out. Or from your blog, and you want to have it constantly going out, or it might be some of your most popular content, right? So one thing you can do is you can go in there and you can set which posts are included or excluded from your WordPress blog. And what it will do is it will check your content every so often, however you set it, and it will then tweet it out to your Twitter stream. Now, granted, like I'd love to have, features like including pictures and things like that in some of the functionality, but it is a powerhouse tool if you're looking to, at least, I want to say automate some of your Twitter stream, but you want to at least keep fresh content out there. The only management you would have to do, I would say, is go in there. I would set up that, like, say, once a month, go in there and say, okay, what post do I need to exclude? Is there something that I wrote about that is no longer valid? Exclude it. And it's really easy. It's a matter of just searching and saying exclude this, and you're done. And it'll pick every other post out. So that way you can constantly keep some fresh content in the newsfeed. And you might want to test it out over the holidays. It's a great tool. It's super easy to set up. It takes about 5 minutes at the most. And you can keep new content going out in your stream while you're, enjoying your Thanksgiving dinner necessarily. Or, or if you're, working, if you're working somewhere, or you're, giving your time back, maybe you're helping out at, a shelter or something like that. So that is tool number 2 for the week. And the third tool is keeping everybody in mind that has, this is something I actually struggle with a lot. So whenever I buy a new device, for instance, if I buy an iPhone, I try to buy the one with the largest space. And a lot of times, it's great, and we fill it up with apps, right? And
I just updated mine. I just got the new 6S Plus, and I got the 128.
See, I got the 6S, or I got the 6 Plus, sorry, with 128. And when we start adding in all these services, we take photos, we take videos. there's, we want all of this available because, the cloud's
Yep.
great, but we want to have it all available. And, a lot of times, like, we're really kind of hesitant to move this content somewhere else. So with that, tool number 3, Google Photos. Google has released, they've come out with something. Apple's got something. Amazon's got something. Everybody's got Dropbox has something they'll back up. Like, everybody has a tool to back up your photos. Google, though, they'll basically take anything that's like, I think it's 16 megabytes or less, and they will back it up automatically. And it's available, it works on the desktop, it works on mobile. Super, super, super awesome. And I share this with you because I know if you're taking a lot of photos at Thanksgiving, this is, you might want to consider backing up your photos beforehand so that you can free up space to be able to share things later on. And they also—
So is this a separate app on my phone, Christian?
Yeah, it is. It's a separate app. But what's really great about it is this. If I, for instance, I'll give you an example. Let's say I take this picture, right, or take some pictures, and let's say it's related to like, try to give you an example, the holidays,
Yep.
for example. They actually—
So you're taking pictures on your phone.
Yeah, so you take all your pictures or whatever, they're all on your phone, and you can put them into Google Photos. And what's great is that then they're searchable, but I can put in like holiday, and it should come back with Thanksgiving, Christmas, like all of the different photos, so I can easily locate them, as opposed to having to go search and look back through my photos specifically. Like, try to find that particular
Right. Are they private, or is it public, or is it you toggle it, or what?
photo from Christmas, for instance. Or like, in this case, you can go into their desktop app and search for your photos that it's backed up. But it basically will back up everything. It takes a little bit of time, but I think if you start now, you can have everything ready by Thanksgiving, which will be awesome.
So it only takes a week to back up.
Well, it depending on what you have, it can take a little while.
Yeah. No, hey, look, totally fine. Especially now with the way these new iPhones are, and the new Android phones with their high quality photos, the high res photos. I mean, they take up a lot of space, or they can.
Yeah. And the biggest thing, like, I looked through my phone and I was like, you know what? I have like, I think, out of 128 gigs, I think I had 25 gigs of, I think it was photos and videos, which is like nuts. And I still try to go in there and remove some of that stuff from time to time. But I would recommend, always having a backup of your cloud, and they will be there. They're not going anywhere. And they do have a premium option, obviously, that also, that will back up like things that are, I think, bigger than 16 gigabytes or 16 megabytes, sorry, which is still really large for a photo.
Yep.
But that's something that you should also, that's something you should consider doing, in the off chance that something does happen to your device or whatnot. And like I said, it does take a little while, but it's well worth it. So you've got all your stuff stored in the off chance something happens.
Sweet.
With that, by the way, I did want to have 2 last announcements for everybody. You and I talked about this. I mean, next week's Thanksgiving. We know everybody's probably going to be doing Black Friday and Cyber Monday shopping potentially. So we're not going to have a show next week, but we are going to have a show the following week. That will be episode 14, which, again, we do these every week. I mean, we try to keep them to 45 minutes to an hour. And I'm actually going to put that in the chat window for everybody, because we absolutely love having everybody on the show. And with that, I don't know, you have any parting words, Vincent? I got one last thing I want to add.
No, go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
So, I know a lot of people, like, they want to be reminded about these blabs that we do. And, one way that I like to do that is, I like to put you on my list so that I can message you every week with a direct link to the show, but I've also include some of the topics that we talk about and links so that we can have discussions on these. For example, if we wanted to talk about, Instagram's, feed update, like that way you can at least read up on it beforehand. Or, we want to talk about, the Google Plus redesign. So, you're not kind of on. If you want to get on that list, all you have to do is text Social Chatter, and I'm putting this in the chat window. Text Social Chatter to 33444 to get on our list, be notified about future episodes on Blab. Basically, I'm going to send you you're going to get an email from me on a Friday, Usually it's in the afternoon saying, hey, here's what we're going to talk about this week, and here's how you can join the show. So, do you have any parting words, Vincent? I just want to say, thanks everybody, but do you have anything that you want to, say?
That's it. Just thanks for all the folks that popped in and tuned in, and try to, if you missed it, catch the replay, and we'll put it out there.
And I want to say I am going to post this. It might be actually up here in a little bit, but I'm going to put the link in there as well to this episode. This is what episode. So I'm actually going to put a link in here. This will be to this week's episode. It will probably go live. I'm guessing I might be able to get it up tonight. Just depends on when the video comes in from Blab. Yep. So if you try to access this link now, it's not going to work for you, but you can read and watch this week's episode, and you're going to have all the links. You're going to get to see all the discussion that was going on as well. You got links. You got you got links to this week's episode, links to the episode for 2 weeks from now. But with that, I want to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, also, by the way, if you are a small business owner, which you likely are watching this show, a lot of your tools will go on sale next week. So if you're not plugged into some of those, if you're using a tool and you're like, hey, you're on the fence about using a tool, you can, I would consider getting on their email list or asking them, connecting them on social, and ask them, are there any, discounts or whatever they're going to be running? Because that's a great opportunity for you if you're just starting out to take advantage of some of those tools and to start to put them into action in your business. So with that, I'm trying to check out Vincent's.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
So with that, guys, I want to say thank you very much, and we will see you on Social Chatter in 2 weeks? So it's
2 weeks.
Not the 7th, but it was.
Yep. 2
Wow.
weeks.
So December 4th. Wow. So yeah. So we'll be able to see you on December 4th. So thank you, everybody, and
Happy Thanksgiving, Christian.
And safe travels.